Hey guys, it's Chris Petracchi, and I sincerely hope that this video finds you and your family well, considering all that's been going on in the world recently. I'm here on lockdown at my place in California, and it's situations like these that really can demonstrate the power and importance of art, no matter what it is you're into: movies, books, music, dance, drawing, painting. It's all about connection and expression of emotions. Art has the power to lift our spirits and process our emotions. So now is not the time to sit idly by. No, it's time for you to see with your artist's eye what's going on around you and get involved. It's going to take a lot of courage, sensitivity, and training. When those three things come together, though, you're an artist. So this is a great time to get some regular practice in and lift your emotions at the same time. If you don't have a spare person around that can be your model because you're in isolation, I'm going to show you a very valuable exercise that'll be like downloading pearls of wisdom that you can still practice on your own. Master studies. For this exercise, I'll be reproducing this drawing by John Singer Sargent, and I'll be doing it digitally using ArtRage. Do you think this painting app can handle the task? Well, let's find out. Okay, here's my lockdown setup at home. I got my MacBook Pro, a second monitor for my reference, and a Wacom tablet. This whole setup is clean, compact, no mess, and that's one of the advantages of going digital. As I mentioned, for today's demo, I'll be working on this high-res image of a John Singer Sargent portrait drawing in charcoal. Sargent was an American expatriate artist and was considered the best portrait painter of his era of the late 19th and early 20th centuries. He created roughly 900 oil paintings, more than 2,000 watercolors, as well as countless sketches and charcoal drawings. Now, the internet has tons of places where you can go to find decent images, and the Metropolitan Museum of Art in particular has over 400,000 high-res images online that you can download for free. Now, before you go looking for other images, I suggest you start with this one. After you've watched the video, pause it here and put it on full screen and try it out for yourself. Now, the first thing I'll need to do is to match the texture of this particular paper that Sargent was drawing on. This surface has a laid finish with the appearance of fine lines running the length of the paper. It's produced during the paper making process with a special roller that creates the pattern in the wet paper. So the first thing I'll do is head over to Canvas settings, select the paper, tiny grain works good. Check it out with the chalk brush. Then I'll select the color, looking good, then kind of paint into it for that organic traditional style a little bit. And I'll be using the sight size technique to get the drawing on the paper. Basically, that's a hot tip for if you want to get a likeness. You work in a 1-to-1 ratio between your photo reference and your artwork, so they're the exact same size. Then I just simply draw horizontal lines from the original artwork on the left out to the right, and I find first the height of the head and put some tick marks there. And then I find the placement of the features vertically, and then laterally to find out how wide the eyes, nose, lips, chin, width of the head are, etc. This saves a heck of a lot of time, and it's exactly how I did it when I was a concept artist working in games, when I was doing character design. So I've basically created a map here, and it's a flat kind of 2D projection of the original drawing. And I work from general to specific, big to small, and I go to smaller and smaller, refining facets until I have all the pieces in play in line work. And you'll see I'm zooming in and I'm zooming out. I like to keep it zoomed out so I can see all the proportions and relationships between the parts. Now, if you work too close in or zoomed in, something you can do on computers but you can't do with traditional media, you may miss those key relationships. So remember to zoom out and check everything as if you're standing up and walking away from your drawing. After my line work and shapes are all looking good, the proportions are there, I put in my dark shapes. I use about a 50% gray on the value scale. I don't want to go too dark. And I'm using these beautiful ArtRage chalk brushes that I've made and put in the tool presets, and picks up that awesome laid paper texture that Sargent was working on. And I just love how ArtRage brush engine mimics traditional media so well, and it just makes it so easy to have that feeling of working in traditional media that other digital painting programs just can't give you, in my opinion. Now, once I get the darks in and I like the design, it's looking good, then I move to the light side and I model the halftones. So on the lights, you have the highlight, you have the light halftones and the dark halftones. And I'm kind of going for those dark halftones right before, that are very descriptive actually of turning the form. And those are essential in this particular drawing because the light side is pretty flat, right? It's just got a light and then a halftone just before it goes into the dark. So I really got to pay attention to those halftones. There's not much specular highlight except in the eye itself and on the lip. I wanted to just mention that ArtRage has this cool feature where you can have your reference kind of like tacked right next to your drawing, and it just stays there. I absolutely love this feature, and it makes my workflow that much smoother and easier. Now, after I've worked my light side, I go back to the dark side and go one step darker to start to bring in some movement and volume into the background and into the hair and features. Then I start to do an edge pass, and I look for hard and soft edges in particular. Where it's a round form, I make it a soft edge, and where it's a more sharp geometric form, I make it a crisp edge. If it's a cast shadow, I make it a crisp, hard edge. That's so powerful, and it's such a simple tool. So what I do to get and maintain a likeness is my eye bounces back and forth between the reference and my drawing, back and forth constantly. And I'm always fixing things throughout the whole drawing. Drawing is just a process of fixing mistakes, right? That's what it's like for me. So I'm just constantly looking and adjusting, making those key and crucial value and shape adjustments throughout the whole process. And it's kind of a push and pull back and forth process. So try not to get discouraged. I know it's not easy, but you'll go through that really muddy middle part of the drawing and you're going to want to just give up, but don't abandon the drawing. See it through and learn from a drawing that maybe is not so successful, because you'll learn more from a failed drawing than you will from a perfect drawing, because if it's perfect, you have nothing to learn anyway. So welcome the failures, welcome the process, and just know it's going to be kind of a struggle. You'll go through a muddy middle, but you'll come out the end either pretty pleased, or if you're not, you'll learn from your mistakes and apply it to the next drawing, because you won't make those same mistakes again. And as my figure drawing teacher told me long ago, you got to learn to fail and love it. And as I've entertained that idea and welcomed it into my art making process, I found it to be very sage advice, because it can often be the difference between giving up in the middle of a drawing and seeing it through into its final conclusion, whether it's successful or not, learning from it, and then moving on. And I think it's much more healthy that way, at least for me. Now, I remember struggling with this eye, to be honest, and it was giving me problems. I don't know if it was the size or it lacked form, but I had to just keep working it and massaging it and figuring out, again, with my eye bouncing back and forth, where the mistakes were and fixing them. Part of it was in the eyebrow, and the height of the eyebrow, the shape of the eyebrow. Part of it was in the fold of the upper eyelid, and then the value inside the iris and the pupil and that highlight. That's very delicate and can look so often fake if it's overdone. And then I worked on the nose and the ears. So I kind of zoomed in after all the big stuff was done. I got to go in and do the features, which are so often, make the portrait what it is and make it look like a specific person. And so those deserve attention, but they have to be held off and done at the right time. Otherwise, if you insert them too early in the process, you can have a drawing that just looks like parts that are disconnected and floating, and it looks awkward and perhaps a little unreal. After everything was done, and to my satisfaction, I went ahead and rendered the hair, which was the last step to complete the portrait. So to wind this thing down, you can see how well ArtRage performed. It performed very well in reproducing this original chalk drawing from John Singer Sargent. I'm pretty happy with the results. So I suggest you rewind the video and find the original drawing, put it on large screen, and give it a go yourself and see how you do. And then post your results in YouTube and use hashtag #mastercopy. I really hope you enjoyed this video. I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.